Hi, my name is Kate Crumbar, and today I am presenting my book talk / instructional strategy. So the genre that I was assigned was a nonfiction / informational text. So basically I was assigned to find a reading that was informational, based on true facts. And I ended up choosing a story that was nonfiction, but it was creative nonfiction, meaning that the illustrations and the way that the information is presented in a creative, student-friendly manner. So I did my book talk structured around a kindergarten level. I did not teach this lesson in a class. I did a Zoom with one of my relatives who is in kindergarten. So that is how we went about it. So the book that I chose was I Am Earth by Rebecca and James McDonald. With Earth Day coming up, so today is April 20th. I did this lesson yesterday on April 19th. And Earth Day is actually this Saturday, April 22nd. So I wanted to introduce the idea of Earth Day and, see if they were talking about it in their schools and provide some information on the Earth and our planet that we live on. So I'm going to read I Am Earth by Rebecca and James McDonald. I am Earth. You live on me. Perfect. On the inside, I am very hot. On the outside, I'm the perfect temperature for life. I travel around the sun and keep you warm. As I spin, day turns to night and night turns to day. When I tilt away from the sun, it becomes fall and winter. When I tilt toward the sun, it becomes spring and summer. The sun is so big that it holds me and 7 other planets in space with its gravity. Together with the moons, comets, asteroids, and other space objects, we make a solar system. Just like the sun, I have gravity. My gravity keeps the moon circling around me and holds you to the ground. Gravity keeps the air you breathe and the water you drink from drifting into space. Without gravity, things would just float away. When you see me from space, I look blue, green, brown, and white. The blue is the water that covers me. The green and brown are the land on which you live. And the white is from the clouds and snow. Cloud drops water on the land below, and when it gets cold, the clouds drop snowflakes, dusting everything white. Rain and snow fill up the lakes and rivers, giving all living things water to drink. Even the food you eat is grown in my rich brown soil. I'm very unique, just like you. I have all the right things to keep you healthy and safe, like clean air, water, and food. I'm not too hot and not too cold, and I hold you close so you won't float away. But you have to help me by keeping me healthy and clean. Because if I get sick, the air gets sick, and the water gets sick, and the ground gets sick, and that's not good for anyone. Right now, I am the only planet you can live on. If we work together, we can keep me the best place to live. And then the book goes on and it talks about different ways that you can help the earth. So this story provides a lot of information. This is a kindergarten through 2nd grade reading level. And with the kindergartner that I worked with, I went ahead and just selected the first 5 pages of the story to focus on. So the vocabulary demands in this book are a little bit higher, given that it is an informational text. So the tier 1 words that I selected were I, am, you, on, the, it, hot, for, and, as, day, to, when, live, life, and from. Those are all sight words that I feel that the student could recognize and did. And then the tier 2 words that I selected were fall, winter, very, sun, keep, warm, spin, turns, and away. And then finally, the tier 3 words that I selected were earth, perfect, temperature, travel, around, tilt, night, outside, and becomes. So the student didn't really recognize some of these words. They were able to recognize the word night, but weren't sure how to spell it or say it properly. So there were actually 56 total printed words during these first 5 pages, and I believe it was 34 of them were the natural word itself, and then a few of them repeated itself. So those are all the total words that were in the first 5 pages. So the lexical density, so tier 1 to tier 2 words is 16 to 9, and it's the same lexical density for tier 1 to tier 3 words, which is also 16 to 9. So we can see that there's not that much of a big gap in those words, meaning there's a lot of tier 2 and tier 3 words in these first 5 pages. If you look at the lexical density of tier 1 to tier 2 and tier 3, it's 16 to 18, meaning there's more of those advanced words. So the text structure for this is, it has two different discourse demands. So the first one is a problem solution. So we saw at the end of the story, it was talking about how, Earth needs to be kept healthy and safe. And then we saw at the end that it gives different examples of how we can do that. So it gives us a problem, the Earth is sick and can get sick if you don't take care of it. And the solution is all the things that it lists that you can do that we did not read at the end, but are there. And then it's also description. It uses information and facts to describe planet Earth. It described the color, it described the seasons, it described gravity, all those good things. It described the moon, the sun. So it goes into great detail to describe the planet that we live on. Now, the instructional strategy that I used was for spelling. So that was my area of learning, was spelling. So I did a phonetic spelling assessment. So basically what I did was I zoomed the student and I picked out 10 words from the first 5 pages. Those words were you, hot, life, sun, keep, warm, spin, day, tilt, and fall. So I had the student get a piece of paper and a pencil, and I read those words to them. I explained to the student that I needed them to repeat the word back to me after I said it. For example, if the word was cat, I would say cat, and they would repeat back to me, cat. Then, once the student repeated the word back to me, I instructed them to sound it out, sound by sound. So, for example, it would be k-at, cat. So, that is what we did for all of these words. So, for example, the first word on here is you. Ya-oo, you. So, he struggled a little bit with this, which was good. I like to see that because he knew that the spelling wasn't right, but he knew the sounds were there, which is exactly what I wanted. So we know that from the text that phonetic spelling improves students' spelling skills, reading skills. It improves their phonological awareness, their letter, sound knowledge, and word recognition skills. So that's why I chose this strategy in particular. So basically we did that for all 10 words, and he wrote them out the way that he was hearing them, the way that those sounds were being produced in his head and out loud. So for example, hot, he would say hot, and he would go hot, hot. And one thing that I learned in one of my placements was tappers. So we basically take your hand and make the first sound, second sound, t, hot. And I taught him about using your tappers to help you sound out words when you get stuck. There was one word in particular that was really hard for him, which was good because this is probably the hardest word that I picked, was the word warm. And I used it in a sentence to help him. I said, it was warm outside today. And the student couldn't quite grasp that R-controlled vowel sound, which is totally normal because this student is a kindergartner and has not been introduced to that yet. So I had him sound it out, and he kept struggling, but it was a productive struggle because during that time he got out his tappers and he goes, well, I know it starts with W. W is W. And he wrote down a W. And he goes, or, what makes an or sound? The student was hearing or and warm instead of warm. So he didn't know exactly what that looked like, but then he went ahead and said, tapped out the sound. And he goes, okay, I know it ends in M. So the student was able to figure out the initial and final sound of the word, which was amazing for a kindergarten level. So overall, I feel that this strategy was really productive. I think that it was engaging. I think the student really liked the story. He even paused me at one point to tell me that we need to pick up trash off of the ground because that can help make the earth healthy. And 100%, I totally agree. I thought that was great that he was able to insert his own opinion and his own thoughts on it. So the student was definitely engaged in the story. And even though there was some struggle in the spelling, he was very engaged and very cooperative. And then when he came across those words that he was unsure if, he would say, I don't really know how to do this. And I would say, okay, well, what do you hear? What are you hearing? What do you think it is? And he would start thinking, get out his tappers, and start doing it just fine. So this exercise did help my student comprehend the text as well. Like I said, he was able to give me that example and give me that feedback. I really liked this exercise. I think this would be awesome for a younger grade level, and I would definitely implement it in my own classroom, especially if I have a student who is a struggling reader or speller, because they're able to practice those sounds, and whenever they recognize those sounds and see the words, they're able to start recognizing those better. Adapting this exercise, I think, would depend on the situation. I think depending on the student as well, it would definitely impact the words you choose, the number of words you choose, the reading that you choose, the setting in which you present the lesson. So I think there's a lot of adaptations that you have to make for this lesson for it to work for your students and their specific needs. But overall, I found this lesson to be very beneficial, and the student that I worked with absolutely loved it and was asking me at the end if there were any more words that he could do. So we went back in the text, and this could be an extension activity as well. Go back in the text and have your student pick out their own words. So I told him that I did not have any ready, but we could go back and pick out some words, and we did. We went through a different section of the book, and he picked out, okay, well, I want to use this word, this word, this word, and this word. And I went through and I gave him those words, said them, he repeated them, sounded them out, and wrote them down on a different sheet of paper. So that was a great extension that we could do, and then it could also be modified for those students who are at a lower readiness level. You know, the difficulty could be lessened and the words could be different, but overall, I think that this was a great lesson. I really enjoyed this instructional strategy, and it also taught me a lot about how to make adjustments and how to work around a student's needs. Thank you.